Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Podcasting from the basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage. So we were talking about the what the Trump is doing right now in the Trump store and the Trump 2025 hats. I wanted to show you. Okay, this is the Trump store, and let's bring you to the. Here we go. There they are. Trump 2028. The hats, t-shirts, koozies. The future looks bright. Rewrite the rules with the Trump 2028 high crown hat, fully embroidered with a snap closure in the back. This will become your new go-to hat. And as I mentioned, there are also t-shirts. And what it says, rewrite the rules. So he's suggesting with these shirts, is suggesting a potential another run. And I'm listening. The Mike Gallagher show is on Kello right now. And I was listening as I was getting ready to do this. And Gallagher's got a completely different take than I do on this. Because I think it's funny. Seriously, Trump is getting in the heads of the left. And Gallagher is like, how does this advance the? I'm like, well, Mike, get a sense of. Mike's a funny guy. Come on, Mike, get a sense of humor. I don't know what's going on. We talked about that during the radio show today, but there they are. If you want to get your Trump 2028 hats, and I mean, seriously, I would be about half inclined to buy one just to get inside people's heads. Not that I try to do that, but sometimes I try to do that. There are several stories over at townhall.com that I want to share with you this morning. Is the latest liberal media psyop on Abrego Garcia collapsing? Remember, this is the man from El Salvador who is being called a Maryland man. He's no such thing. He's from El Salvador, in the country illegally. We have talked about that at length on the show. Matt Vespa's got a very interesting piece here talking about this. And he says, so in short order, the Democrats got stuck defending an MS-13 gangbanger who beats his wife. And folks are reacting here. Focus groups, they're not fan of just a Maryland father. The evidence in due process is public. Gilmar Garcia had 3 immigration hearings, one of which established an MS-13 affiliation, the other of which upheld that, and the third of which denied his asylum and subjected him to deportation. At this point, the lying is willful. I think there is willful lying going on in this country on a daily basis. Also, Mark Mitchell over at Rasmussen reports saying it looks like this is flaming out. Interest over time, you see it rose dramatically, huge, and now it's on this slide right now, and I think it's going to continue to. And so they say here, everything Democrats have tossed against the wall on this matter has failed. Aged like milk on a summer day. Garcia had due process, which is why we know so much about him. He was here illegally. The Supreme Court did not order the Trump administration to return him to the States. That's a lie. Everything that the left has been saying about this has been astoundingly wrong. So here's Homeland Security. Abrego Garcia was illegally in the U.S., had a lawful deportation order. Garcia was arrested and found with rolls of cash and drugs. He was arrested with 2 other members of MS-13. 2 judges found that Garcia was a member of MS-13. This goes on. Let's take a look at what additional information. Yeah, Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection after instances of domestic violence. So that whole thing is just falling apart. And it's just been amazing to watch how you've got, more Democrats who are getting on board and just the way that they're persisting over this. Bill Maher was on Piers Morgan's show. And this is we talked, in fact, the story was trending. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. You've got, forgive me, his name just flew, Larry David, who wrote an op-ed mocking Bill Maher going to the White House. My Dinner with Adolf, I think it was called. My Dinner with Adolf. So Piers Morgan asked Maher about this on his show. Let's roll a portion of this for you. It's slow.
Well, let's talk Larry David, because you're friends, aren't you? Were you friends? Are you friends?
Yes, of course. I mean, this wasn't, my favorite moment of our friendship, but look, I don't want to get in too much into that, but I think the minute you play the Hitler card,
that's what I think.
You've lost the argument.
Yes.
And also, I must say, come on, man. Hitler, Nazis, nobody has been harder about and more prescient, I must say, about Donald Trump than me. I don't need to be lectured on who Donald Trump is. Just the fact that I met him in person didn't change that. And the fact that I reported honestly is not a sin either. But, to use the Hitler thing, first of all, I just think it's kind of insulting to 6 million dead Jews, who, like, that should kind of be in its own place in history. And, I know people can say, well, we're just comparing it in this way. Well,
he's making a pretty salient point.
It's just, look, maybe it's not completely logically fair, but Hitler has really kind of got to stay in his own place. He is the goat of evil, and we're just going to have to, I think, leave it like that. So
anyway, that's it. I think that's most of it. We'll leave it there. Maher responding to Larry David, which I thought was just absolutely outrageous. And that story was trending yesterday. It's been trending in the news the last several days. And you look at that and you're like, what? Larry David is off his rocker. And I mentioned this on the air. I'm like, I've gotten to a point now, Larry David has stopped being funny. The guy's not funny. That's just, to me, now I'm speaking personally, obviously, but the guy's no longer funny. And his 5 minutes, or what, the 15 minutes of fame, his 15 minutes are up. As far as I'm concerned, I'm just done. Okay, let's get back to Trump. This is from PJ Media. Trump might be about to make Reagan's dream come true. And I've got to tell you, I just love this photo. Have you ever seen this photo? Trump and Reagan meeting. This is wild. So this is the Golden Dome against nuclear attack. Congress has placed a huge down payment on fulfilling Ronald Reagan's dream of strategic missile defense. So congressional Republicans yesterday announced a supplementary defense spending package, including $27 billion for Trump's Golden Dome, in addition to funds for 14 new anti-missile warships. The bill, and again, you don't think Trump is taking the issue of Russia seriously? The New York Post, they're critical of Trump because Trump on True Social said, Vladimir, stop. And they're comparing him to Joe Biden saying, don't, that, this has all, really? 27 billion in that now Congress is putting in place for Trump to build this. That doesn't seem like Trump is weak when it comes to Russia. Because not that the United States does not face other threats. China certainly would be one of them, I think, that we'd see, but that whole thing, it just kind of drives me crazy. I don't know how closely you have been following the issue with Nike. Now, I know Clay and Buck have talked about it on their show. I have not talked about it at all on mine. But I wanted to bring this. Nike apparently has been funding a child transgender athletes study. And it was the New York Times that broke this story. So the Jennifer Say is the founder of XXXY Athletics. She's slamming Nike over this research. So the New York Times article, and again, Clay and Buck have talked about this at length, and so you may have heard about it. The New York Times article was published over the weekend, and it talked about the transgender female volleyball player. Outkick pointed out that the piece mentions Joanna Harper. Outkick was founded by Clay Travis, and he still works with them. He no longer owns it, but he still works with them. And Outkick has been all over this story. So they pointed out that Joanna Harper, a trans woman who studies transgender athletes, is currently helping to lead an ambitious study of trans adolescents that measures their results. And apparently, the article said, she told me when we talked in February, the current climate makes the study somewhat uncertain, and that the study was being funded by Nike. So Nike has not commented on that at all. Also, I wanted to share, as I was searching for some of the, let's go to DuckDuckGo. I want to increase that so you can see this a little bit better. So that's the Fox News story I just shared with you. Martina Navratilova slamming Nike over their role in this transgender athlete research. Navratilova has been very solidly in favor of women and girls in women's sports, not transgenders. Daily Express, Nike facing backlash for not supporting female athletes. So as to whether or not they are or not, I'm going to leave that up to you to make that decision. It certainly has been in the news, which is why I wanted to bring it to your attention, and we'll leave it there. I think I'm just going to call it a wrap. It's Friday. I'm feeling kind of, honestly, I'm kind of worn out. Friday morning, man, if I can get up on a Friday morning, and I did, like I'm a hero for waking up to go to work, right? But let's leave it there for another week. That is a wrap from the bunker. You made it to the end of the video, so you were part of my gallery of champions. And I want to thank David because he came up with this. Those of you who are here every day, the Bunker Brigade. David, I love that. The Bunker Brigade. So thanks to the Gallery of Champions. Thanks especially to the Bunker Brigade. I want to wish you a really great weekend. I hope you're going to come back on Monday. So until then, I'm underground and gone.